Hello everyone, today I'm going to make a traditional Chinese dish which is called steamed buns, and I'll be using the dry yeast. I will make the bun from very scratch. So firstly, we get some plain flour. So I'll use this cup, and each cup it's about 100 grams. So add it to a container. Make it equal. Some people they wanted to know if we can use other type of flour, but my suggestion is it's better to use the plain one. Then we are adding some dry yeast. So I'll use my hand. So that wouldn't be much, just a tiny bit. Then we are adding water to the flour. So firstly, we add 100 mils and mix them together. There is a tip here is to not adding the water at once. So add it for 3 times and mix it up. The reason is you really want to mix the dry yeast with the flour evenly. So use your hand to knead the dough. Then finally we add the last amount. And knead the dough. So the reason I'm using a plastic glove is I know how the process is gonna be, and I don't want my hands to get very dry once I made the dough. So last time we add all the water in. Another good reason to add water separately, it's you can really tell by your hand how's the dough and the humidity of the dough itself. Well, it looks good now. Then we use the dough to take all the residuals that is stick on the edge. Yep, then it should be okay. What we do now is, because the dough is fermented, so we need to use the lid to cover it and leave it somewhere warm for 2 hours. Then we come to prepare the fillings. So we're using a pickled Chinese cabbage and with vermicelli. So we can break them in the middle, and then you can put into a small bowl. We can add some water to cleanse it off first. Then we take out the pickled cabbage into the container. There's a lot of juice. We need to rinse it under the running water. The reason is to reduce the sour taste from the pickled cabbage. We add some hot water into the vermicelli to soften it up. Okay, good. Then in the meantime, we can cut the cabbage. So I would suggest to cut it to 1 centimeter, that big. Then the reason I'm adding some fresh cabbage, one is to reduce the sour taste of the cabbage, pickled cabbage, and also gives some fresh crunchy taste, add some extra flavor to it. So we use a bag to put everything in, and we squeeze out all the juice from the cabbage. Don't worry if you squeeze all the waters out, because once we put it into the steamer, it will finally becomes white again. And then we cut the vermicelli into the same amount. So use your hand to mix them up evenly. I'll be using a bird eye chili because I prefer something spicy. So I'm using also a traditional Chinese seasoning which contains all the ingredients, but they powdered it into together. So that contains 13 ingredients. Also, we add some sesame oil. I really love the taste of sesame oil, but we're also gonna to heat some olive oil and pour it on the top of the chilies, so just to refresh the chilies flavor. Then mix it up. I haven't added any salt yet because I know once I add any salt into it, it gets juicy as well. So the reason is because the dough is still about to be raised, so we have to wait. Then 2 hours later, we get the finely raised dough. We come to the process of making the dough. So before we roll the dough, we need to take it out from the container, and also we are adding a little bit baking soda, just a tiny bit, because once the dough is fermented, it can be very, very sour. So we need just a small amount of baking soda to make that, to contradict the sour of the dough. Then we separate into a handful amount, press it, so roll it first, and we use the dough roller to roll it up. So it can be very wet, and once it gets sticky, so we need some plain flour. Okay, keep rolling. So another technique is to use your left hand and your right hand. So your right hand holding the roller and roll the dough and give it a go. Then, yeah. Before we actually make the buns, the final stage is to add the salt. Okay? Yep. I'm using my hand. And there's some soy sauce mixed up. Then I would like to show you the process of making the bun. So put the dough into the middle of your palm and fill that with the filling, and use your thumb and your middle finger to pinch and pinch and roll and pinch, roll and pinch, roll and pinch, roll and pinch, then roll and pinch. Another thumb can be used to press the filling in. Yep, just keep going, then it should be all right. So once you make the bun, use some sealing paper to cover it. The final way is to cut some baking paper. Because I'm using a very small steamer, so I can only place 2 inside. And don't place that to the edge of the ball, because otherwise once it's rising up, it will stick to the edge of it. So I'll show you how much water I've added. So about half of the steamer would be water. Then when you hear the bubble is coming, you know the water is boiled. Then started your timer for 25 minutes. Let's wait. All right, it looks good. Then we can switch off the gas. See? I hope you enjoy this video and see you next time. I will add all the ingredients I used in this video, and also thanks for my husband for taking this video for me, and see you next time.